Ah, darn it. Hello. I'll be starting in a few minutes. Thank you for joining me. Black Goddess 45. Hello. Thank you for joining me, Oliver789. Happy Friday to y'all. I'm just setting up, so I'm going to start in like 5 minutes. If you could do me a favor, thank you for the hearts. If you could do me a favor and let me know in the chat if you can hear my voice over my playlist, I would appreciate that. I'm like pulling double duty tonight. I am baking my brother's birthday cake. So hello, thank you for joining me, Elizabeth Glover 1701. Welcome to my weekly writer's check-in. For those of you who don't know or are new, my name is Miss Ibis and I'm with Discreet Media. And over the past 4 weeks, I set a more like a writing challenge as a way to regain my rituals and a sense of consistency and accountability with not just my work, but balancing, you know, the outside things along with that. So this is Friday. I go live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So Friday marks the official end of week 4. So I have been going live consistently for 4 weeks now. So yay! Clap if you're happy. So it's been 4 weeks, but this week has been kind of hectic. I've been under the weather. I'm still not completely, 100% today, but I figured I'd, do my check-in. At least I'll be on here for at least 30 minutes. And I'm cleaning, getting ready to get my cake all set up. Right now I have to start my Swiss meringue buttercream for the cake. So it's my baby brother's 40th birthday tomorrow. And because I've been sick, I couldn't start as early as I would have liked to. So I'm kind of rushing and not rushing, but I'm, inching my way through all my tasks and chores. And my sister and niece will be here. They're going to set up the decorations and everything soon. So if you hear a doorbell or a phone ring, don't be alarmed. It's just them. And, I just wanted to make sure that, I kept my goal of doing these lives at least 3 times a week. And I did. I made it. I won't be on here long, as I said. Even though I do not feel like I have the energy and focus on this right now, but it's my way of showing up for myself and for any of you who are also on your own writing journey and are just starting out. And sometimes your body gives you signals, and you can't always just power through. And sometimes it's not entirely healthy for you to do that. In my particular case, I would ignore, you know, all of the signs and communications that my body was giving me, telling me, you know, you're not well, you're tired, and you keep doing it, you're going to crash out. And I ignored my intuition, I ignored my body's signals, and that's what happened. I would crash out, I would be completely exhausted, and, you know, my work suffered for that. I couldn't concentrate, I couldn't focus on anything. You know, anything that I wrote, I would immediately hate it because I'd go immediately into editing mode and, you know, just delete everything with my red pen. And that's not a positive way to work. That's not a very efficient way to work. And also it takes the fun out of it. And, you know, I'm trying to regain that sense of intimacy that I have or had with language that, you know, existed before like the first lockdown during COVID. I had more practice speaking, doing public readings and all of that, engaging with groups of people, because I have terrible stage fright. I'm very introverted. I don't like crowds, and it affected me. Like after that lockdown, I lost that. And this is my way of trying to reclaim parts of, you know, my old rituals that I used to have before. Now, you know, I've come to understand that I will not be able to recreate everything that I used to do because, you know, the times are just different. I'm different. I'm a lot older now. I don't have the energy that I used to. I don't have the time that I used to. And my schedule fluctuates a lot. So I have to be as flexible as possible and not beat myself up for it and let go of that heavy weight of perfectionism that I've had for as long as I can remember. So I'm learning how to, you know, detoxify myself from perfectionism as well. And it's still a work in progress. I'm not as terrible on myself as I used to be. I'm more forgiving of myself. Like this week, I felt like a pile of hot garbage all week, and I could not get my body to, you know, work with me. I felt ill, I had headaches, and, you know, this perimenopause is really kicking my butt. Hello, Flowing Anthony, number 1, thank you for joining me. And Cece, thank you for joining me. For those of you who don't know or are new, my name is Miss Ibis. I'm with Discreet Media, and I'm a poet and Afro-speculative fiction writer. And what I've been doing is using these live streams as a way to reconnect with building connections with other writers and holding myself accountable and building confidence, and actually also practicing on my narrating and speaking voice, because I don't do live readings. I haven't done a live reading since the first COVID lockdown. And that was my practice. I used to be in a poetry group, and I had that practice. I was an ESL conversation group leader. So I also had that because I was in front of between like 15, 20 people at a time. And I have horrible stage fright. I've always had it. I'm very introverted. So that was my way of not so much eliminating the fear, because I still have it, but it's my way of, you know, acknowledging that I have it and working through it in a way that it won't paralyze me. I don't want to allow it to paralyze me and keep me from moving forward with what I have to do. And these lives have been one of the tools that I've been using in order to accomplish that. And another thing is I just wanted to be more accountable, and, you know, you have to show up for these things. This is not my bailiwick doing these lives, but, you know, the situation is not ideal. I'm in the midnight kitchen right now. I'm not at my usual station. I'm on my phone, and I had to lug my, I have this like stage light thing that my dad loaned me. Shout out to my dad, by the way, for the excellent lighting and advice for filming and getting my images the way I want them and the proper lighting and where to position things. So shout out to my dad. Thank you, Daddy. And, you know, it's just trying to get used to certain things. And one of the things for this week was letting my body rest and just accepting that, yes, I feel like garbage. I'm not able to do a lot, but I inched along this week. I showed up for my lives Monday, Wednesday, and today, even though my heart wasn't really in it, my energy wasn't there. And Wednesday was kind of bad because my headache was worse then. But, you know, I got through it. I didn't push too much. And now, you know, I'm going to start this Swiss meringue buttercream for the birthday cake. Now, my brother, he imagined himself getting a 7-tier cake because I baked my sister's 50th birthday cake and I gave her 3 tiers. So he wanted something bigger than that. I'm only going to give him 4. He's turning 40, so I'm only giving him 4 tiers, which is quite enough in of itself. Because these guys, you know, when the fam comes over and every time I do the birthday cakes, somebody always complains like theirs is smaller and theirs has to be bigger than whose ever birthday it was previously. They're not killing me over a birthday cake. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, I got my water simmering. So I have to get my egg whites. It's touch and go separating the eggs from the whites. I don't have those little contraptions that do that. But hello, thank you for joining me, 1050. And for those of you who are just coming in, my name is Miss Ibis with Discreet Media, and I am a poet and Afro-speculative fiction writer. And this is the official conclusion of week 4 of reclaiming my writing rituals and doing my weekly check-in with everybody and letting you know about, you know, my my progress, my tries, and you know, even my mistakes and my failures. So one of the things that I had tried this week, which I wasn't really successful, I was trying to learn how to set up my streams a bit differently so that I could set up a gaming stream with some relatives so we can play together while I'm doing the live. Now, I had the hardest time trying to figure out how to do that, and I finally got it to where I can stream with the Nintendo Switch console. So it worked. Now, the first time I tried it, I couldn't get any sound. So, you know, that was a little glitch there. And it took some tweaking, and I finally got the sound to work along with it. And I tried my my OBS and Streamlab, and there's a new one called Meld. I was playing around with it, but I couldn't get anything to work with any of those. It was just on the TikTok live stream. So, you know, I'll take that as a win, but it did take me a while to figure it out. And I was working on practicing my narrations for my podcast that I'm developing. And unfortunately, I didn't really do too much of the vocal practices. I started doing these little vocal exercises with this a little trainer device called a Better Voice device. It's like a little thing that you have to breathe into and control your breaths. My dad got one because he had a full thyroidectomy, and he's a vocalist and a sound engineer, so he played a cover band for like many years. And after his surgery, you know, his voice wasn't what it used to be. So I don't know, he found that he read something about it you know, his voice wasn't what it used to be. So I don't know. He found that on, he read something about it. So he got one and then he showed me, and you know, I got myself a little one. So I'm trying it too. I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent with that as well. Okay, I'm getting an unstable connection now. Oh well, we're just gonna. Hello, Divine Love. Thank you for joining me. For those of you who are new, my name is Miss Ibis, and I'm with Discreet Media. I am a poet and Afro-speculative fiction writer. You know, I love hearts and gifts, and you know, send me some flowers. Let me know what you're up to this weekend. Let me know how the week has been for you, if you had any plans, and you know, what your schedule is and how you adjust to sudden changes and how you show up for yourself, because I'd really like to know that. And you know, I'm always learning and trying different things, so you know, any type of information that I can gain on different ways to combat the so-called writer's block. My situation with writer's block is kind of, it's more or less under control because I understand where it's coming from. Because for certain writers, you may experience blockage or that inability to focus on a particular project, but it comes from a different source, whether it's from you thinking you have a lack of ideas, or you can't concentrate, or you know, perfectionism, you're worried about making a mistake, or you're paralyzed by a blank page. There are different sources that come from that. And one of my issues was my lack of energy. It didn't have so much to do with, you know, lack of ideas. That wasn't the problem. I have plenty of those. The problem was getting them out of my head and onto the page, because I lacked the energy and focus in order to get what I needed to get done. And that was coming from, you know, external stresses and my own body, my own health issues that I had to relearn how to listen to. And that is one thing that I tried to take into account, especially for this week, you know, listening to my body more. And when it's telling me to stop, I try to stop. I really do. And, you know, this week I really didn't have much of a choice. I couldn't go out, and it was like my head was pounding. I didn't have any energy. And as I said, perimenopause is not for the weak. And, you know, at night I was like, it was like a furnace inside my belly. I'm sleeping with ice packs, and I got my fan on. I always have my air purifier on because of my allergies, but I was like, I'm inching along on my hands and knees for this entire week, trying to, you know, I know good and well I'm not going to be able to clean the whole house and get the entire cake done. So I was inching around doing little things like, okay, I'm going to put a load in the dishwasher, or okay, I'm going to separate the laundry just a little bit. I don't have the strength to like go up and down the stairs yet, but I can get the stuff ready. And, you know, I'll dust this corner of the room, and, you know, little things like that, and get my ingredients ready for tonight. So that was my way of, you know, yes, I felt terrible and I was tired, but I would only do as much as my body was willing to allow me to do. And the rest of the time, I rested. I drank my water. I had my chamomile. I used my ice packs, and I just kept still until, you know, I'm better than I was yesterday. I can move around and my voice is much better. I'm drinking my tea. I do have cream in it, but today's tea brew is mullein, which is good for your throat and draining out excess mucus, and spearmint, dried spearmint, and a little bit of green. So that's the mixture for today. Mullein, spearmint, and green tea. So let me know in the chat how you guys are doing for the weekend. What are your plans? And as I said, I'm going to be on for a few more minutes and then get back to this cake. So in the beginning of the live, I mentioned that I'm starting to work on my Swiss meringue buttercream, and I'm baking my brother's birthday cake tonight. So when I don't feel well, it's kind of tricky separating the eggs, so I'm going to try not to get my yolks mixed up with my egg whites this time. As I mentioned, I don't have a contraption to separate them. Or I used to have one of those, it looked like a little sifter, but it didn't really work well for me, so I just leave it. So I'm going to try, here we go. If I can separate this, okay. Because it's like every time I'm tired, it never fails. I always get a yolk in there. Oh, there we go. And I do not want to waste these yolks. Okay, that's all right. No yellow. All right, number 2. I'll wait. I should have put this on the scale first. Okay, I have to start over because I was supposed to be measuring these and I forgot to put it on the scale first. I can do minimal multitasking. Minimal. Oh, that was my mom. Okay, hold on. I need 8 ounces of this stuff, so I'm going to try it again. Ah! Okay, I broke it too much. Oh, that was too much. Oh, okay. Now, you know, it was Friday, and I didn't anticipate being ill this week. And originally, you know, I had planned to talk about developing creatures for my stories and how you come up with concept art for monsters and what makes a good monster. But unfortunately, that will have to wait until next time. Halloween is getting closer. Favorite holiday of the year, by the way. Argue with your mama. So, and I wanted to focus more on, you know, the spooky and the dark fantastic. So I'm going to start working on that a bit more when I do my lives, because I am a horror girly at heart. It's like one of my favorite genres. And that's the best thing about writing speculative fiction. You can blend all of these different elements and genres together. So I specifically like horror, but I also like to blend it with historical thrillers, folklore, and fantasy and sci-fi. And again, speculative fiction is like this, it's like a total playground. You can experiment and play around with it as much as your heart's desire, and you know, you can create some really fascinating stories that way. So that will be my focus. Maybe I'll save it for Monday. And we'll talk about, make it Monster Monday. I might do that. So one of the things that I'm also going to work is Mondays are not usually the best days for me. I don't like Mondays at all. I think they're unfair because I'm coming off this relaxed high from my Sundays, which I kind of need for the week. And then Mondays are like, for some reason, that's when, you know, issues come up, a mistake that I noticed, or this piece of equipment doesn't work, or this lighting isn't right, or my laptop freezes all the time. That's usually when, shit will happen. But it's also something that I need to learn and reprogram my brain and stop dreading Monday so much. I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm working on that. Hello, Hannah237. Thank you for joining me. And it's almost time for me to log off and focus on getting this cake. So here's another cake. I gotta break it. Oh, okay. I wish I did have one of those contraptions that can separate your yolks from the whites a bit better. Come on, get in there. But so far so good. I don't have any yolk in it. Got this one stubborn piece in here that won't go. Go. Okay. Okay, I'm still good. I need more eggs. And hopefully I didn't forget anything with my ingredients. Oh, no. Unfortunately, as I said, I've been ill this week, so I wasn't able to shop for myself. I had to rely on others to get it, so we'll see how that goes. Okay. Ah! Okay, 674 ounces. I still need more. All right, loves. And again, thank you all for joining me tonight. This was a quick one. And once again, for those of you who don't know, my name is Miss Ibis with Escrete Media, and I am a poet and Afro-speculative fiction writer. And this has been my weekly writer's check-in for the conclusion of week 4 of my writer's challenge. So Monday is the official start of week 5, and Monday will be Monster Monday, and I will talk about, where I get my creature ideas from, doing concept art, and what makes a good monster. What are the components of making something believable and frightening and really interesting? And I'm not just talking about, human monsters, because they're just par for the course. They exist anyway. And monsters that are derived from your imagination and your source material, you have so much area to play with your concepts. And, it can be really expansive, and you can match that to whatever theme you're going. And as I said, because I'm a horror girly, we're talking about monsters as Halloween is getting closer. And unfortunately, I will be working the last week of October, so I'm gonna get, my monster fixes on now. And one more thing before I go. The consistency that I set forth for myself about reading poetry, at least one poem in the morning every day, and I did meet that goal, even though I felt like horrible this entire week. I read one poem today, and I went back to Rita Dove, because she's on my bookshelf anyway. I just read a poem by Rita Dove, and that was it. And when I do it, even though I felt ill this week, it has this soothing effect. So it does have a soothing effect when I read, and it helps me be closer with the language, and it's like wrapping yourself in a little warm blanket. But it didn't cure me, but I did feel a little bit better. So I did stick to that goal. And even though I did not get to, all of my errands, and I didn't reach my word count goal for today, at least, because, everything else was going on and I've been sick, but I have been consistent with that. and I checked in with you guys to let you know what the progress is and big plans for Monday. So I hope you join me then. And thank you all for who came into my live, shared your hearts, and chatted with me, and shared this evening with me. So have a wonderful night. Get your little freak on Friday. Have fun this weekend. Take a breath. And if you are working, enjoy the work. Enjoy that intimacy and have fun with language when telling your stories. So, love you all. Bye.